What's up, guys? It's Eventon here, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to get through the Federation Grand Prix, hopefully in one piece. At least I did. From beginning to end, it took me a little bit over 3 hours. Some of you guys might actually be able to do it in 3 hours flat because I ended up changing my fitting, which allowed me to go a bit quicker. But it's really up to you guys what you guys want to do. But there is 3 circuits. The first 2 will take you through low sec. The last one will take you through null sec. So I do recommend an Interceptor because it will make you warp bubble immune. Have no fear if you guys don't have Interceptor skills. Luckily, CCP was nice enough to provide everyone Interceptor Expert System, so everyone has access to it. I'm not going to get in depth on how that works. You guys can read it. It's just going to give you access to ships. So it's nice. You can buy an Ares, use it. Even if it's a ship you don't use, you could just sell it back on the market for a small loss, but at least you have the skins and all the cool stuff that comes with it. Because there are a lot of threats in this. There are Smartbombs. There are people that will camp the destinations that will kill you, especially in low and null sec. There's also bubbles, which is why we're flagging the Interceptor. But there are, at least in my opinion, 4 different settings that you absolutely need to have in order to have success getting through this. The first one is to always have local open. I know it sounds obvious, but you need to have local open so you can actually see the criminals that are happening. And same thing with like the suspect people. The second setting is to have the actual events tab open. I know most people have it closed and they just don't care. Have this open because this will actually tell you where you need to go and like look at the overview and where to warp to, because you are warping to a celestial beacon like 90% of the time. There are a handful of cases where you aren't, which I'm going to actually cover here in the guide to kind of fix that up, because sometimes you will get stuck and you will be in danger. The third setting I would have is try and see how many ships died in the last hour on your map. And you can actually set that up by going to the sun icon, going to geography and statistics, and then ships destroyed in the last hour. And this is what I used to actually find out which systems tended to have gate camps, because you definitely go through Dead End, you definitely go through Salmoneer, and you definitely go through Cormonan at some point during this. You also go through M2, which also has a lot of ganks too as well. But anytime I was going to a new destination, I would pull up the map for like 30 seconds, like, oh, I'm going through Dead End. I need to be careful there because I have a feeling there's going to be a gate camp coming up. Fourth and last setting you need to have is obviously in your overview, have something that will actually show celestial beacons. So whether it's like your travel to tab or your miscellaneous tab, those should show those celestial beacons that you need to warp to. So we'll go ahead and jump into the video and go through the guide and tips. All right, so first things first, you're gonna head over to Luminaire, and there's a few ways to do it, either through like the agency window or in the bottom left where you can see that 1 is flashing. It probably won't be flashing for you because I just got there. The only time that will actually flash is when you actually completed like a reward throughout that kind of grid thing. So if you're kind of in the in-between points, it won't prompt you to do it. So how you're actually able to get to Luminaire or like the next destination is where it prompts you right there. You just right click, set destination, and it's just going to take you to the system. It's not going to take you to like a station or anything like that. So it's not going to give you like a specific location. It's just going to say, hey, go to the system, find where the place is. And most of the time it's just going to be in your overview on the right side when you get there. It's funny enough, actually, the first place that it's taken us is like a project discovery, like landmark or monument. And it's actually just prompted me. This is actually a really good opportunity to get some project discovery knocked out, because some of the distances are just a couple jumps. Sometimes it's, you know, north of 10 jumps. So this is actually a good way to make a little bit of extra ISK while you're traveling around. So we finally get there. It prompts us that we completed a reward. It's not going to do that every time. Only if you get a reward, it'll prompt you to do that. We just right click, go to the next destination. Which reminds me, you should pretty much always warp to 100 on all of these. It's a good habit to get in, especially later. On the right side, you can actually see that we're right on top of the like the celestial beacon that it's taken us to. Once in a great while, it won't even give you a location. It'll just say, hey, go to waypoint. In that case, just again, right click at Maya, and then you just head over to the system and it'll prompt you from there. Because once you get into the system, as you can see here in a little bit in the overview, it'll just say at Maya like Grand Prix like waypoint or something like that. So you just get there. So if you have any questions, just set destination, go there. It'll prompt you to get to where you need to go in the overview. This part here actually sped up because right when I got into local, this is one of those systems where it just tells you like, hey, go to this destination. This is kind of like one of those endpoints in order to get to the next step. All I did was open up DScan. I DScanned down the spot. I saw that there was 3 ships. I knew they're going to be waiting for me at 0 to kill me, so that's why I say never warp to 0 on these. I actually warped to a planet on the other side, so I'm coming in at a different angle. So that way I have enough space between me and them in order to, you just have to get on grid. So even if you warp at 100, you're still going to get credit. Once you do, immediately warp off and then get the next destination. All right, and this next one I actually had to slow down just to look at the rewards here. So you'll see that you get a variety of boosters. So you actually get 2 boosters. One is for sub warp speed and one is for warp speed. I don't know why they did it, but the first one you actually get at like level 5 or something like that is the sub warp speed. You do not want that one. That one does absolutely nothing for you for this event. You want the warp speed one. And you'll notice on my face, I try to apply it and it just doesn't work. I accidentally applied the sub warp one. I tried applying the warp one to kind of get rid of it and it just didn't work. So the only way to get rid of it is, luckily I had an extra jump clone and a Mar. So actually I had to switch bodies, apply the warp one, because you really want the warp speed. In this event, you will be warping 99% of the time. I never used a prop mod. I never had to move. It was always warp to gate, warp to here, warp to there. I never had to use my prop mod. So just a heads up, do not use the first booster. Use the second one for the warp accelerator. All right, so same thing here as last time. I warp into the system. Local is filled with criminals. This is an end destination point, so I warp to a random planet and then to the spot at 100. And as you can see, complete chaos ensues. So you pretty much never want to warp from the gate directly to the destination. You're usually better off warping to the sun, a random planet, and then warping to 100. Because as you can see there was a line of dead ships at 0, 50, 100, all the way in line with the gate. So actually, once I got there, I immediately warped off, then accepted my destination to be safe. All right, so this next part really only happens once or twice out of the whole like Grand Prix. Sometimes the destination doesn't appear at all in the overview. Like there's no beacon, no nothing. All you have to do is actually open up that little flag icon there in the bottom left. It'll give you a description where it is. So this time it says it's 50 kilometers off of the Sisters of Eve station, or you can look in the sensor overlay like this and get a general direction of where the monument is, and you can warp there instead. All right, so this next part here, I noticed a lot of criminals in local, but it's not an end destination, so I'm still on my way there. At this point, I'm thinking a smart bomb camp. And we're not going to treat it any differently. I am warping to a planet or a asteroid belt as much as an opposite angle as possible from my original gate. And as you can see, we completely sidestep these smart bombers that try to get us, and we ended up avoiding them altogether. And as you can see, all those wrecks are in the direction of the gate that we would have came from. So you want to try and warp to the other side. Could have overheated our hardener for a little bit of extra tank, but I don't think it would have made that big of a difference. So fortunately, up to this point, we never had to deal with any warp bubbles until the third circuit. The first two circuits will only take you through low sec, so you can actually kind of get away with just using a shuttle. But the third circuit is going to be really, really difficult without an interceptor. So getting through these bubble camps was actually really easy. As long as you have a sub 2 second aligned interceptor, you should be fine. Didn't really have too much of an issue. Actually, people sitting on like the celestial beacons or like the endpoints, it was mostly just people just relying on their bubbles to kind of catch some people using something other than interceptor to get some kills. And the last 5 jumps before the end is pretty much easy. It's really easy. It's like cake. It's mostly through low sec faction warfare space. Once you complete all the rewards, which is awesome, you get a lot of cool skins as well as boosters that can last, I think, up until the end of the month. Once you actually get to the end point, it's going to tell you to go back to the starting line again, because then you can actually start a timed trial of the second circuit, which is still low sec, so you don't have to deal with bubbles again. And the top 10 people get put on a monument, which is pretty cool. That's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys learned something, or if you guys found this helpful, put that down in the comments below. Don't forget to take care, and you fly safe.